There's no point in drawing this out any longer than necessary. For the past several months, I've heard nothing but complaints from the Raw superstars and fans about the way Eric Bischoff has vacated damn near every title on Raw. So Eric, I'm giving you a chance to come on out to this very ring right now and explain your actions. Well, Eric, I don't think I have to remind you that you stand on dangerous ground here tonight. So what do you have to say for yourself?
Well, Mr. McMahon, as everyone knows, I used to be in charge of WCW, the most dominant force in the sports entertainment industry. What was it? 88 weeks in a row that we beat this very show in the ratings? 88 straight weeks.
Yeah, and we all know how that turned out.
I used to be the undisputed king of sports entertainment.
I take exception to that.
And now look at me. I became nothing more than a lackey, under the thumb of WWE Board of Directors and the almighty Vince McMahon. Well, I'm sick of it. I've been sick of it for a long time. And about 6 months ago, I decided to do something about it. I was approached by someone who promised me enough financial backing to raise a new sports entertainment empire that would rival the mighty WWE. In exchange for his support, all I had to do was handicap Raw in any way I could, while at the same time lend my genius to this new venture of yours.
Genius?
So I stripped the Raw superstars of their titles and put them in the most grueling matches conceivable. And all the while, my partner was making deals and targeting the WWE for a hostile takeover. Now you're probably wondering why I've chosen to reveal this master plan tonight. Well, quite frankly, it's so close to fruition that not even the great Vince McMahon can stop us now. So it is my great pleasure to introduce you to my partner. He is a true titan of business and sports entertainment.
Save it! It's JBL, right?
What?
John Bradshaw Layfield, the WWE Champion. That's your partner, am I right?
Mr. McMahon's one step ahead of Bischoff.
You see, I've known about your pathetic little scheme for months, Eric. Did you seriously think you could just start vacating Raw titles without me taking an interest in why you were doing it?
I think Mr. McMahon may be miles ahead of Bischoff.
I've already contacted Smackdown General Manager Theodore Long, and although JBL doesn't even know it yet, this titan of business and sports entertainment, as you call him, has been stripped of his WWE title and fired from Smackdown. I know JBL's on his way here, and I also knew you two had planned some dramatic unveiling for your so-called master plan. Well, JBL's going to get a bit more drama than he bargained for when he arrives here tonight. You see, I've got someone waiting for JBL in the parking lot. The man who won an opportunity to challenge Triple H for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania.
Raw's #1 contender is going to be JBL in the parking lot? What does that mean, JR?
I don't think he's there to roll out the red carpet, King.
I thought it might be a good warm-up for Raw's title contender to take on a world champion before WrestleMania. So when JBL shows up here tonight, he's going to find himself in a parking lot brawl. And by my watch, JBL should be arriving right about now.
You can't be serious. You can't do this to me. I'm Eric Bischoff. I'm the general manager of Raw. I'm the only man to take on Vince McMahon and win.
Eric, in case you haven't figured it out by now, the only thing you are is you're fired.
And not a minute too soon. Thank you, Mr. McMahon.
But that's not all. There's gonna be a parking lot brawl between JBL and Raw's #1 contender.
JBL may be a true titan of business, but he's about to find out what happens when he sticks his 10-gallon head into Raw's business. And there isn't a damn thing Bischoff can do about it anymore.
Hey everyone, welcome back with Mac. Alright, so we are obviously continuing our playthrough of WWE Smackdown vs. Raw 2006 Raw Season Mode with John Cena. You know how it is if you've been watching and whatnot. And as you just seen, Eric Bischoff apparently was trying to get WCW back off the ground. So yeah, you didn't see it, but there is a storyline on the SmackDown brand around WrestleMania, where if RVD ends up winning the WWE Championship, then ECW gets revived. So it seems like they're kind of going for the same thing for WCW in this game. Very strange, but I don't know. I guess they were pretty nostalgic at this time. But there is some pretty entertaining things going on in this storyline. And we are going to see a very, we're going to see a familiar face return pretty soon. I won't say who, but I won't spoil you. Okay, I'm just saying, you know, be ready for a pleasant surprise. And I do find it funny that JBL of all people, I get, you know, they had to have somebody who's like the rich guy or whatever, but JBL of all people is the one who wants WCW back. I don't even know, was JBL even in WCW? Like, you never really hear it because he was, you know, he's not like the Triple H or the Rocks or whatever, but I know he was in WWE since the mid 90s, I believe, you know, as Justin Hawk Bradshaw. Well, I mean, for the longest time, though, he was literally just Stan Hansen ripoff. And not a very good one at that. It was kind of entertaining when, like, he was trying to teach Taka in 1998, you know, how to be American and all this other stuff. I thought they had some good interactions. But they never really went anywhere with it. And I think he eventually just, Taka joined Kaientai or Kaientai, however you pronounce it or whatever. Geez, sorry folks, don't come at me, you know, if I don't know how to pronounce things. Just because I play as Carlito doesn't mean, you know, I support his views on the Chinese or whatever. Which, that was just such a stupid thing. But yeah, I don't know. Like I think the Taka turned on Bradshaw when he joined Kaientai, and I think Bradshaw didn't show up for a while. And I don't know. It's kind of interesting that I think he may have also disappeared because I think he may have been one of the people who got hurt in the brawl for all as well. Oh, that said, it is interesting. People always say, you know, Bradshaw's tough and this and that. You know, people say, oh, because, you know, he got beat up, he got knocked down one punch by Joey Styles. I don't think that necessarily negates his toughness. I mean, if you don't think something's gonna happen, it was clear he was messing around with Joey Styles because he didn't think he would do anything. So if you don't see it coming, you know, I mean, it's kind of like what you say, you know, you throw that one punch, doesn't matter the size of the dog or whatever, the heart of the punch, or something along that lines. But I don't think it necessarily negates his toughness, but I've also never heard an actual story that demonstrates how tough Bradshaw apparently was. So I don't know. I don't really. Maybe he was in a lot of bar brawls or something like that. But I mean, that's something that I always thought. It definitely seems like, you know, he was just bullshitting and stuff like that. And by the way, I mean, I've said before, I do not support JBL's mental abuse towards a lot of his employees. It's whether or not you mean so, or, you know, you're just kind of entertaining yourself. If you see somebody is starting to get real pissed off like that, you know, you gotta stop. And apparently he had drinking issues, and I've talked about, you know, how it's, even though they're friends now, the Blue Meanie incident where he started legitimately beating him up at freaking One Night Stand was a load of bullocks. It's just, you know, that shit shouldn't be allowed. But hey, at least Blue Meanie did get to come back and get a pinfall win over freaking JBL. So there is a silver lining, and that was actually a pretty entertaining, a very memorable and entertaining match in and of itself too. And you know, there was that chair shot from Stevie Richards, and for the longest time, the prevailing story was that Stevie Richards did that on purpose and stuff like that, but it actually got mixed up. Apparently, what happened was, you know, it was stiff, and he didn't mean to do it, but JBL was just so tall. And, you know, which is kind of like he couldn't angle it correct and came off harder than it, you know, it was. And, you know, Stevie, you know, he apologized for it, and The Undertaker confronted Stevie backstage right after it happened and said, hey, look, we don't have that many guys in this brand, you know. You can't be, you know, doing that to people on the show. And, you know, it seemed like they were all cool, and Stevie apologized to The Undertaker and said, you know, trust me, that wasn't, you know, my intention or anything like that. Oh, wow, that was actually a pretty awesome move. Gonna try and do the finish to the parking lot brawl, but it's tough because I can't remember exactly how to do it. What? But yeah, then it turns out for the magazines, WWE magazines, JBL told Stevie Richards, like, hey, you know, for the magazines, tell him like you did that on purpose, and it was all, you know, you did it for you know, Blue Meanie and all this other stuff. It'd be good publicity, but nobody told The Undertaker that Stevie Richards was gonna do that. And so The Undertaker, seeing the article in the magazine or .com or whatever, and he was not happy with Stevie apparently. And this is from Stevie himself.
Last week in that parking lot brawl.
JBL was plotting with Eric Bischoff to undermine Brawl, and they both got what was coming to them.
I won't shed a tear for either of them, JR. But what's Raw gonna do now that our general manager has been fired?
Last week, on behalf of all the Raw superstars, I taught SmackDown a lesson about what happens when you try to mess with the dominant brand of sports entertainment. And Vince McMahon gave me his personal assurance that there will be no more interference from SmackDown until after WrestleMania, which is just how I want it. I've shed blood, sweat, and tears to get where I am today. The World Heavyweight title is the crown jewel in our business. And it brings out the best in every superstar that comes near it. Eric Bischoff could never understand that. And that's one reason why he's the ex-general manager of Raw.
Amen to that.
Champion, Triple H. He won the title at the Royal Rumble. Remember, JR?
How could I forget?
It's all about the game and how you play it. All about you can take it. All about you and if you can play it. It's all about pain. And who's gonna make it?
You know, I usually disagree with this Joker about damn near everything. So I'm as shocked as anyone else to realize that we're on the same page this time. This is the crown jewel of our business. This is the ultimate prize. It's the last thing on every superstar's mind when they go to sleep at night, and the first thing on their mind when they wake up.
I have to admit he's right, King. If the World Heavyweight title isn't on your mind, you're in the wrong business.
And the single, ultimate reason this title means so much is because it's around the waist of me. The game. Every loser in the back thinks that if he can wear this title, he might one day be good enough to be mentioned in the same breath as Triple H.
Imagine that, JR. Who wouldn't want to be mentioned alongside an all-time great like Triple H?
Oh, please.
But listen to me very carefully. This title is a part of me, and I am a part of it. Without the title, my life has no meaning. Without me, this title is just a belt. Yeah, you may have your opportunity against me at WrestleMania, but you'll never beat me for this title. You'll never take away that part of me, so take a good look now, because this is the closest you will ever come to it as long as I'm around. And why? Because I'm that damn good.
Oh my gosh! Triple H just knocked him out cold!
What a noble champion. I tell you what, Triple H makes me sick. He just won the title, and I already can't wait to see somebody take it away from him, damn it.
We've only been without a general manager for a week, and already Raw is turning into a madhouse.
Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through.
Well, look who it is. It's the Great Green Tomato. What's up, kid?
Now listen up, you dastardly villains. The Hurricane is here to bring you to justice and truth, honor, and integrity to the World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, yeah? And how are you gonna do that exactly?
By relieving you of that title, of course. With justice on my side and my hurrah powers at my disposal, an evildoer like you doesn't stand a chance.
Kid's got a lot of heart.
Yeah, but it's not pumping any blood to his brain.
Hold on a second. You want a World Heavyweight title match? You? Against me? For this? Man, I don't think I'm ready to take on a superhero tonight. At least not by myself. Tell you what, how about you and your sidekick there take on me and Ric Flair? Right here, right now.
Surely you are familiar with the concept of a superhero team-up, citizen contender. For one night only, I will take you on as my hurrah sidekick and join forces with you to defeat Triple H's evil schemes. The battle is joined.
Alright, so I guess we're teaming with the Hurricane now. Two things about that cutscene. First off, it was kind of weird. Like, there was no editing or anything like that. It's just for some reason they have a cutscene that ends, and then another cutscene plays right after with the Hurricane. I don't understand why it's not one big cutscene. Maybe I can't really think of an issue. Like, I don't think space would have anything to do with that, but I don't know. It's just weird. But on top of that, Triple H has always had like the fakest freaking like looking and sounding laughs in the WWE. But yeah, the Hurricane, I actually love the Hurricane. He's actually one of the better surprise entrants in the Royal Rumbles and stuff like that. And on top of that too, I don't know, I always thought it was entertaining and stuff like that. He was actually the only WWE guy I ever dressed up as in Halloween. It was like, I think it was like my senior year in high school or something like that. I went to my friend's house on Halloween night and dressed as the Hurricane, and I played the song while I walked down the stairs into his basement, stuff like that. It was awesome. That said, though, I was too lazy to put the full outfit on at school or whatever, because, you know, it was early morning and I stayed up the night before or whatever. But I had like the green hair dye. I bought like the old Jax mask off the line. I had the cape and everything. It was pretty sweet, I'm not gonna lie. But I think I got rid of all that stuff. I think I still have the cape somewhere, and maybe the cape and the freaking the mask somewhere. I just can't remember where. Probably in storage somewhere. But I think I paid a pretty good, pretty penny for that for the freaking mask too. But it was worth it, trust me.
It sure is. The toughest athletes in the world are on the WWE roster, and that's a fact.
There's the reversal.
But I don't know. I think the Hurricane is a good, is a pretty good example of, you know, Jim Cornette has said funny ain't money. I kind of disagree in certain instances. Kurt Angle, namely, being one. You know, and The Rock is another one, and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure he means like if it's just purely comedy, it's not going to make you money, and that was kind of what he's saying. But I don't know. I think the Hurricane has made the WWE quite a bit of money over the years. Definitely some good moments with him, I'll say that. Whether it's the Royal Rumble where he, you know, remember the Royal Rumble where he totally choke slams Triple H and Stone Cold at the same time, and eliminated, you know, them from the Rumble. I mean, classic, iconic moment. I never liked him as Gregory Helms, though. Like, I know there's a lot of people that like the serious wrestlers, but like a lot of times, you know, like even guys with Dean Malenko or whatever, like, yeah, they're serious and can be pretty decent in the ring, Dean Malenko in particular, but I don't know. I need to have like a character to get behind. I did not like 007 Dean Malenko. That said, though, I am curious, what do you guys think about Jim Cornette since I brought him up and stuff like that? Because if you like AEW, you hate the guy. There's no questions about it, probably. Because, you know, he's always, it's pretty popular online, pretty much, with a lot of podcasts to kind of, you know, critique AEW. And, you know, it's obviously a different thing for there, so, you know, and the ratings have gone down, I believe, and stuff like that. So it's pretty popular for them to rip on AEW and stuff like that. Some of them you can tell like it comes from like, all right, we're gonna get some good views off of that. Others you can tell it's, you know, I think it has genuine, you know, concern and advice and all this and other stuff. But Jim Cornette's kind of like the biggest guy who does that sort of stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I think Jim Cornette, a lot of people like to disregard him. And honestly, if you do only like AEW and you kind of have no concern for anything else in the business, then yeah, like, you know, he's just kind of like there's nothing good about him. As a human being, I can say this kind of objectively in my opinion. But I think it's, regardless of how you feel about his wrestling or anything like that, I think he's kind of shown he's actually just kind of like an actual pretty shitty human being, all things considered, you know. When it comes to politics, he kind of has, he's one of those people where it's like, you know, either you agree with my politics or you're a massive idiot, you don't deserve to live in the world, you ought to be killed, or, you know, whatever, stuff like that. And he's kind of gone on saying things like that. You know, like, he's pretty much disregarded, you know, Kane and Undertaker because they supported, you know, Trump and this or that. And it's like, even if I don't agree with someone's political, like, statements, you're gonna, I know some people, they have the idea of, like, you know, well, of course it is, you know, like, this guy wants to, kill all these people. This guy wants to kill all that. I don't know. I just could never. I could never just like break ties with year-long friends or family or anything like that over politics and stuff like that. And I've actually had people in my family that have actually done that, and not with me personally or whatever. I'm not really politically inclined. I don't literally get into that much stuff, and a big part of it is because I can see how serious people are about it and whatnot, and I kind of try and keep up on events or whatever, but I could never get into it to where I would ever it's tribalism in a sense, and it's not just politics. It's even WWE and AEW, the console wars, all that stupid stuff. But politics is obviously the biggest factor there, and even if you want to say, all right, well, I agree with politics, so it's not that, but the fact that he's he slapped Santino Marella, and what, okay, he slapped him. He has this stance that he's a coach, and there's, once again, I would have to say, there's worse things that that could happen in the wrestling business, in the ring. A slap, well, it's definitely a douchebag move. I don't think it's the worst thing ever. And obviously, he did actually pay for it. He got fired for it, so it's not like it went unpunished. But that said, come on, Hurricane, break it up. But that said, I mean, come on, then Santino Marella confronted him one time, and Santino just wanted to talk to him, and there's footage of a camera or whatever saying, calling over security and stuff like that. So he's one of those people why I think he's kind of a shit human being, is he's always like, my way is right, everybody else is wrong, nobody deserves to live in my world if you don't believe it. And he'll talk so much shit to people about people, but then when it comes to any sort of confrontation, he's like, oh, help me, this or that. Even if there's not going to be any physical sign of physicality or anything like that, he's it's like, oh yeah, if I ever see this guy, I'll kick his ass, I'll smack him again, and dude, come on, you're gonna really say that stuff, and then you're gonna try and defend yourself about it. That said, though, people always undersell just how knowledgeable he is in the business, and they kind of use that, him as a human being to try and say that is all that cancels out his wrestling knowledge, as well as a few other things. But for example, one of them is like, oh, he's just out of touch. And no, man, I mean, he's the most watched podcast in wrestling, consistently, and has been for years. And if he didn't have the politics things, and
there's the Hurricane and his sidekick in the GM's office. But who's in the GM's chair, JR?
I have no idea, King. It's not Eric Bischoff. That's for damn sure.
Oh, no!
You've got to be kidding me.
Surprise! I bet you two didn't expect to see the coach in the general manager's chair.
You're the new general manager of Raw?
What's up with that?
Well, Mr. McMahon likes to say that I'm the interim general manager and that he's still looking for a permanent replacement. But I think we all know that he's just saying that to smooth over some bruised egos. I mean, where's he gonna find a better GM than the coach?
All right, well, if you're done talking about yourself, let's talk about Triple H and what he did to me last week.
I was just getting to that. Don't rush the coach, or I'll strip you of your title shot. Ah, just kidding. The coach is famous for his sense of humor. Now, I know you two gentlemen are skeptical, but let me make a couple of matches for you as a show of good faith. Now, I can't put you and Triple H against each other just yet, or it would spoil WrestleMania for the coach's fans. But I will give you a shot tonight against Triple H's right-hand man, Ric Flair, in a submission match. And as for you, Hurricane, I'm going to give you exactly what you were looking for last week. A World Heavyweight title match tonight against Triple H himself.
A title match? What is he thinking?
Holy career opportunity for Citizen Coach. What happens when I beat Triple H tonight and win the World Heavyweight title? Surely you don't expect me to fight my sidekick at WrestleMania.
You beat Triple H for the World Heavyweight title? You're a funny guy, Hurricane. Sometimes I think you're almost as funny as me. Now move along, gentlemen. The coach is a busy man. and you've got matches to prepare for.
What an absolute jackass.
What has Raw done to deserve that moron as a general manager?
The following contest is a
I always feel bad for whoever has to texture these characters' nipples. I'm sorry, I just got distracted by the Hurricanes' nipples or whatever. They look weird. Anyway, to continue my point about the Jim Cornette thing, people try and, disregard him and stuff like that because they don't agree with his opinions and say he has no value. Dave Meltzer's a big one with that. And at the end of the day, Dave Meltzer's just a guy who gives his opinions at the end of the day. At least that's how I think you should look at it. But, and if they don't agree with his wrestling, he's old school, he's out of touch, doesn't know what he's talking about, he had a failed business or whatever. And I would agree, if you just take all of Jim Cornette's stuff, the business has changed to the point where, like, if Jim Cornette was in charge of a promotion and he got to do whatever he wanted, it would not be like a worldwide thing. It just wouldn't. Because that kind of wrestling just isn't as popular as it once was. And, you can't, put the toothpaste back in the bin or the tube or whatever. That said, he definitely has so much knowledge that people just kind of take for granted.
Very concerned about tonight's title defense, JR.
The odds may be stacked against the Hurricane, there's no doubt. But that young hero has all the heart in the world.
Stand back! There's a hurricane coming through.
King, you know what they say. Anything can happen in the WWE.
Must have been some kryptonite in that sledgehammer. That's gotta be the shortest title defense on record, JR.
It wasn't even a defense. The damn match didn't ever start. But I guarantee you one thing, Triple H isn't going to get off that easy at WrestleMania.
I wonder what our interim general manager is gonna do about this.
Our illustrious interim general manager, the coach, made this match tonight.
Alright, so to continue on my point, though. So first off, that was the worst sledgehammer shot I've ever seen in a WWE game. He hit him in the back, across the back with the freaking one part of it, not even the metal part. And you're telling me that this dude actually got knocked out by it? Just more silliness with the motion capture and the freaking cutscenes. But that said, with the Jim Cornette thing, I'm sorry, there's a lot of cutscenes, so like I had to keep getting interrupted by it. But with the Jim Cornette thing, he has a lot of knowledge. He knows what he's doing in the business. His ideas, in my opinion, are too outdated to be where all of them, if he had his way, they would not work the same way that they did back in the day. Because obviously the business has evolved, it has changed, and some for the good, some for the better. I mean, some for the worse, some for the better, right? That said, though, I think it's kind of like Jim Ross. I'm sure he has an old school mindset, mentality as well. It's like some of the old guard in WWE and AEW, like the Randy Ortons, the Billy Gunns, any of the legends in WWE, like the Devons and stuff like that. They have their own kind of like views and mindsets that can be useful. However, obviously not everything they can say is going to be useful for today's product and that whole thing, right? So it's kind of like take what you think would be good, take what's bad, but like at the same time to discredit them and say they're old, they don't know what they're doing, they're out of touch. That's just you trying to cope with the fact that like not everybody agrees with wrestling. But the fact is, Jim Cornette would not be as popular as he is if people didn't agree with him. And he has been consistently like the most popular podcaster almost for like, the last almost 10 years. I think like since like 2017, 2016, even when he had the freaking girl who had no idea about anything about wrestling on his podcast, he was so popular at the time. Before he got Brian last and stuff like that. So, obviously people agree with him and he has good opinions. And think about that's kind of what the whole reason I brought up the politics issue as well. Think about how much more popular he would be if he wasn't an asshole and like, which is kind of like, you know, didn't take the time to like, you know, say, oh yeah, you know, fuck everybody who supports Trump. I don't want you to listen to me or anything like that. And whether you agree with him or not, I'm not bringing that up. The point is, I'm making that because politics divide people, no matter what. So imagine how many more people you maybe even almost double the audience. That would listen. He would have almost twice as big an audience listening to him now if he didn't ever talk about politics and all that sort of stuff. So that definitely, the fact that he's, you know, he even gets, you know, at times it seems like more podcast views than like some of wrestling itself at times. So I mean, like, to just discredit him and say, you know, he's out of touch, those people, it's a small minority, yada yada. No, come on, man. Like, even Tony Khan himself, when like he was being interviewed at one point, and the guy tried to say, oh yeah, you know, Jim Cornette doesn't know what he's talking about, and Tony Khan interrupted the guy mid-sentence, said, no, you know, he knows what he's talking about, he has some good things to say, and I do take into account what he says and stuff like that. So, I mean, like, considering how Tony Khan is, I mean, that was a while ago, but Tony Khan is, you know, we've seen how he is on Twitter and stuff like that. You know, that's pretty much saying something, that even, you know, the head of AEW and all Jim Cornette ever does is shit on AEW. And he's saying that Jim Cornette does have some worth when you really listen to him, and he was in the business and he has an important, you know, things to say. I think that kind of just goes to show that there is some importance to Jim Cornette. But yeah, he is. It has nothing to do with his politics, in my opinion. It's the fact of how he reacts to people who don't agree with him. It's not the politics part. It's the, you know, your lifestyle is different from me, I don't like you type thing. That I think makes him an asshole, as well as the fact that he is always calling people out and, you know, saying, yeah, you know, I'll kick their asses. You know, you and me, Vince Russo, we'll go to the cemetery and or a field or something like that with baseball bats and we'll say, like, come on, dude, like, go fuck yourself. He wants to be a wannabe tough guy when at the end of the day he was like a manager. But that said, even with all that, and I don't even hate the guy. I mean, I know it makes it sound like I do, but I still love to listen to his podcast all the time. So take that what you will. You know, I know a lot of people, I've never been called out on it, but I like to have like the middle ground of stuff, because if you don't have a middle ground of life, you know, and looking at both sides of the coin, then I don't know. I mean, like, it's just kind of, I think that's kind of, in my opinion, a little bit dangerous, and I think that's how we get these echo chambers and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I always like to look at both sides of the coin. And if you're wondering, too, why Ric Flair made his entrance, obviously I was supposed to face him in a submission match. You guys know I suck at submission matches. I tried so many times. I actually have a short up right now, some funny things. I used the figure 4 like 5 times. It's John Cena, so I have a short if you want to check that out. And that's kind of the highlights of my match with him, but it was like 20 minutes, I just couldn't. I did the type B ones where like they had to get in the blue bar, no matter how many times I did it. He had red body and red legs and all this other stuff. 20 minutes, I shit you not, and I couldn't do it. So I mean, if it ever comes to another submission match, I'm probably just gonna have to, I don't even know. Which, I mean, we're almost done with the season mode, so I do apologize for, you know, not showing you guys those matches, but trust me, you do not want to see those matches either. But yeah, once again, let me know what you guys think of Jim Cornette in the comments below. You know, if you just want to share your opinions on him as a person, or if his thoughts on wrestling and stuff like that, you know, whatever, it's cool. But I don't know. I don't usually like to talk about politics or anything like that, even though I don't like to talk about politics, the actual politics of politics, if that makes sense. But yeah, I will admit there are times where like I have gone on rants about it, but it's usually the fact of like I don't like when people divide their audiences with politics rather than my own personal politics and stuff like that. But I mean, it's just kind of the world we live in and stuff like that. But I don't know. I'm not complaining about something that I haven't complained about 20 times over. I wish we had like a world filled with equality and everyone was equal and there was no wars, no trouble, people got along and stuff like that, but that's just not reality. So I mean, it's kind of, you know, it's whatever your own opinion on how you think we could get there.
certain superstars.
That's cool with me, even if you disagree with me. Oh, I mean, I'm sure there's people that are they're like, yeah, well, you know, I like it when people argue and fight and stuff like that, so I don't want a peaceful world. Hey, to each their own.
Now remember, kids, whatever you do, don't try this stuff at home.
Absolutely not.
Jericho tried to do that freaking slide thing on me. Yeah, of course he. Come on, Trish, kick his ass, kick his ass. Yeah, I don't usually use it, but yeah, we're actually using Trish Stratus here because, I mean, she is under my managerial services, and as you can tell, she is still not done with Jericho after that WrestleMania 20 main event event. Cripplet crossface. Damn, is she gonna is she gonna let him in the ring? I'm surprised he hasn't reversed her yet. Alright, I think I just won. Alright, no complaints here. See? Good thing I had her as a manager. Oh, the ref has to finish his bitching first. Okay.
With noses like theirs, it's tough for them to keep them out of just about everything.
Come on, Jericho. Get in there.
Triple H, Nature Boy, look out!
The deal was that I'd stay out of the way after the match. I didn't say that you two jackasses should throw me out of the damn ring.
Deal? What's Jericho talking about?
Oh, what's the matter, Jericho? Did you get hurt taking a little tumble out of the ring? Were we too rough for you? Well, let me tell you something. You're gonna get it a lot worse than that when I give you the first World Heavyweight title opportunity after WrestleMania. So let me ask you, was it worth a little beating? Or do you wanna head home and cry yourself to sleep?
Oh, it's absolutely worth it, Triple H. And don't misunderstand me. I can take whatever you dish out. But if you try and double-cross Y2J, you're never gonna make it to WrestleMania, Junior.
I can't believe that Chris Jericho would sell his soul to that devil, Triple H.
At least he got a good price for it, JR. As long as Triple H retains the title at WrestleMania, Jericho's the next #1 contender.
Alright, so quite an interesting turn of events here. I find it quite interesting. It seems like a lot of the same characters start to kind of pop up in these storylines. So like, for example, Chris Jericho is seemingly involved in every single world title feud. You know, whether it be, you know, on SmackDown when you join ECW, SmackDown when, or actually fight ECW, SmackDown when, you know, you're going against, Teddy Long, like we've seen, you know, he joins in on the fight because he's always somehow the #1 contender in this game, and I don't know, I just find that interesting. And obviously Triple H is always the World Heavyweight Champion and that whole deal. So I have to wonder, like, was that just to save on like people who had to do the, was it just for convenience of the storyline? Was it for the consistency of like the storyline, especially since it's always like around WrestleMania time and whatnot? But like Chris Jericho, like he always seems like he's like the sub boss of you know, in this game's like world title matches and stuff like that. So it's just very fascinating.
Jericho won't get his title
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure because Chris Jericho, he comes back. Obviously, this was the last game he was in for a while, and then he comes back in SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. I think, unless if the hair is different, but I think everything's the same. I think they just ported this character model over into SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 as his alternate attire. So it's an interesting use of reuse of resources and stuff like that. Always made me wonder, like, if that is the case and they could do that for like Jericho in this, why the hell, like, don't they do that more often? Like, just reuse outfits from previous games. Like, I think John Cena changes his outfit in SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 because obviously a lot of characters in SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, you know, like they reuse the models from like the previous year. So, like, for example, like Chris Benoit, like he has his yellow for-real attire in this game, and he has the same outfit in the next game. Eddie Guerrero has the same outfit in the next game, and all that sort of stuff. But like Rey Mysterio, he has the red Rey Mysterio attire in, you know, 2007. So why didn't they just like port his model from this game as an alternate costume for that game, you know? Makes you think. Uh-oh. Is he interfering?
But if they drop the ball, these fans will let them hear about it.
I don't think that's going to happen, King. These competitors know that their paychecks.
Oh, man. Did you hear that chair shot, JR?
What? Man, he's actually kind of kicking my butt. Because these chair shots, like, they just aren't doing as much damage as I'd like.
And I don't think I've ever seen competitors.
Oh, what a shot from that steel chair.
Jeez Louise, man. I can't stand it when this happens, when they hold a weapon and so, like, their moves just don't really do anything to them. Of course, I got freaking Dick Flair over here. Yeah. Dick Flair. Crack myself up. I don't know. I just like it when they flop into the freaking table in this game. There we go. Wait, what? You can do the possum pin after like a chair shot? I didn't know that was even possible. I always shit my pants whenever they hit me with that too. But yeah, see, I think the whole weapon thing is just so... First off, I think that's actually pretty cool camera angle. I think it's pretty stupid that they have like the high flying thing. It gives you so much momentum from just landing a successful one when you're clean, but I think it's also as equally as bullshit because like in hardcore matches you can see like I can't really use weapons without my momentum draining drastically in the game, and but they get like one or two shots. I mean, they already have another finisher. Like it's just such a kind of a broken design when you really think about it. That's kind of one of the big issues I have with this game, but we've already gone on record to explain those.
Can't blame the superstars for looking under the ring for weapons. Anything you find under there can be a huge help.
His opponent's down, and now he's sharing a piece of his mind.
Uh-oh, I think he has time to interrupt me. You gotta love the logic of the AI in these games, because like, they could kick your ass, but instead they're just gonna go for the weapons, just because they happen to be there. I mean, like I said, it's broken, but I mean, if they can break the game, then I'm gonna do it myself too. All's fair in love and war, right? But I know nothing about either, honestly. Alright, but thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out the finale of the Raw season mode next Wednesday on Wrestling Wednesday. But above all else, please remember to have a nice day.
See the coach.
Stop right there. What do you think you're doing, Jericho? First you orchestrate an attack on my #1 contender after your match last week. And then you double team him here tonight? And for what? A title match against Triple H after WrestleMania? In case you've forgotten, the coach is the general manager of Raw.
Interim general manager.
You beat me to it, JR.
And that means the coach calls the shots around here. So Jericho, Flair, get the hell out of my ring before I lose my temper. And believe me, you don't want to be in the ring with the coach when I lose my temper.
Looks like Coach bit off more than he can chew. I can't say I'm sorry to see it, but I am sorry to say that it looks like Triple H's henchmen are still running the show here on Raw.
What did Coach expect? Talking to two former world champions like that. If you want to order Raw superstars around like that, you'd better be able to back it up. Say, that gives me an idea.
What are you talking about, King?
I'll tell you later, JR. But first, I've got to give Mr. McMahon a call. Okay, Christy, Stacy, let's go through tonight's schedule one more time. First, we've got a bikini contest, followed by a bra and panties match. And then there's the Diva Talent Show and the evening gown match. And then you two in a pie-eating contest. Oh, I love Raw.
I never thought I'd see it. Jerry the King Lawler as interim general manager of Raw.
Okay, girls, I've got to deal with some serious business here. I'll see you two later tonight.
Okay, Lawler. If you're about done hitting on the divas,
Hold it right there. First of all, watch your tone. I'm the interim general manager of Raw, so you need to respect the position. I'm not a jerk like the coach, but I'm not going to be a pushover like him either.
fair enough. But what are you gonna do about Triple H, Ric Flair, and Chris Jericho? I've taken about all I'm gonna take from them. And if you don't do something about them, I'm gonna take matters into my own hands.
That's exactly what I was hoping you'd say. Look, regardless of how I feel about you, you won a title match at the Royal Rumble, and you're gonna main event WrestleMania. I don't like the idea of Ric Flair or Chris Jericho ruining Raw's biggest match of the year. So I'm gonna give you a chance to do something about it. I've made a first blood match for you tonight against your choice of either one of them. So who do you want to take out? I mean, take on?